Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Token Games Podcast. I'm your host and sometimes referee, Zach Stat Pearson. And today I'm joined by the future, once and only king of House Freeman, Corey Troy.
How you doing?
Practicing one of his voices.
Maybe I'm.
And of course, you know him. To know him is to love him. The one, the only black man in Korea, Hill.
Hey, it's 5 a.m. and I don't sleep.
Well, with that being said, Hill, make sure you're on push to talk, by the way. We're going to get right into our topics. Topic 1. Disney and Netflix have both confirmed that the Netflix shows were not removed or taken from the platform by the choice of Disney. To be fair, I just want to point out as a little bit of a side note, we don't know if those shows are going to leave the platform. It hasn't been officially stated, but who knows? Netflix purposely ended the licensing agreement and by extension the Marvel Netflix shows because the company decided to primarily focus on creating their own original properties even though all the shows were successful. And just as a little asterisk to that side, that also means shows that they exclusively had the licensing rights for. That being said, remember that almost every showrunner who worked on the series, or series is, I'm not sure what the correct plural is, but I think it's series, said in part that you will see these characters in franchises again. What do you think that could mean, though? Topic 2, genre oversaturation. Is there a way to properly tell when a market has been obsessively flooded with one style of game or entertainment? And if so, what can the industry do for developers to possibly combat this issue? I have yet to ever hear about anything or any entity on any level trying to tackle this issue. And number 3 is coming soon, The X-Men Cometh. The franchise we all know and love, and we've all waited for to return to Marvel, is finally happening. However, when it comes to video games, do you think that developers are better off creating games based off of the movie franchise, or should they focus more on a game, that it heavily reminisces and talks about the comic book stories? Why or why not? Topic 4, also known as converting the non-believers. Non-believers, as in creating new gamers, isn't something that has a predetermined path. In your opinion, what are some good starter games to help introduce someone to the concept of video gaming? That covers the basic fundamentals, but it's still entertaining to watch, look at, as well as play. Please do not confuse this with tell me your favorite game. I don't know why, but that happens a lot. All right, who wants to go first?
I can take a crack at it if you don't.
Might as well.
Alright, so for the first topic, let's see. Hang on for a sec.
Take your time.
So for the first topic, the loosely Netflix shows that they say that they have, that doesn't fly with me, but they're splitting off just do their own thing. That's cool. How would I see them again? I really wouldn't know because it's like maybe I see like they're gonna not try to do like what they did with like the Defenders and shit. They see that they had more success with singular characters rather than trying to have all these characters and show them off in different like aspects. That's what I say for one. Two, oversaturation has happened a lot. determine oversaturation, you look at the first popular game that happened last year and see how many people try to coin in on that. As you notice, everybody's trying to do fucking this year battle royales. Last year it was fucking wait for it. Last year it was fucking JRPGs. The year before that it was fucking racing games. So as you can see, they're gonna go off the most popular thing that happened. And they're just gonna make it. There was a whole trend of like Lego Batman, Lego Star Wars, and all that other stuff. And I think saying to combat this is just like, don't try to go back to back with these games because nobody will want to play them anymore. Put it out in waves or like do something because if you see something that's just gonna keep appearing up, try to do it better with your next like shooter, first person shooter, something like that. Like with fucking Anthem, like everybody was trying to like go off this I say Destiny thing, and then like Anthem like kind of mixed Warframe and Destiny together and made it better than what both of them should be, from what I understand from other people's perspective. And then 3, I'm pretty sure most of us have seen the Nintendo Direct of the new X-Men game that they're trying to put out, and I like stuff like that where it's just like kind of its own story. I don't know if any of those previous X-Men beat 'em up games had their comic book story put in them, but I do like it where it's just like we're gonna do whatever the fuck we want for this game title, at least have its own presence and not worry about anything. And then number 4, trying to get new people in the game and picking a game good for them would be hard. But if I were to say something, I would honestly say Sly Cooper 1. The reason for Sly Cooper 1, you can get the feel of how, 1, a difficulty spike, and a really unfair difficulty spike where you get hit once, you're done. That's it. You can understand about different difficulties and how you can work around them. 2, different level designs of open platform first-person shooter, because it's like that game had a variety of different play styles per level. It wasn't just like sneak around. You had to really force your way through some levels. And 3, just see how creative the team was. Like, hey, this game actually looked pretty good at its time, and it was actually pretty fun. So you can jump around and see what other genres you like. And if that isn't fully your fancy, I would also go with Madden 08 and WWE 08, because not everybody likes the cartoony anime games. You can go with something like more realistic, like you like your simulator games, and you can just see what the rest of the world has put out for games like that.
Did not see that coming. All right, Corey. Got a little bit of a special idea for you. How about you read officers' responses to the topic, but use one of your voices, assuming you have other voices.
Oof. Trying to think about this. It's kind of difficult to do this on a phone. Jesus.
Difficult or scared because you in public?
Not scared because I'm in public, but like scrolling and reading things is kind of like annoying, and like holding down the push button is it's
So basically what I do at the beginning of every podcast. Yeah, I know, it sucks.
yeah. So Netflix were the ones who ended it. I can't help but question why they would throw out something so popular, and also something that would likely get them many more subscriptions. That's whatever, I guess. It's over and done with now. No going back. As for seeing the various characters again, perhaps they're gonna move to primetime TV, that or another streaming service. Is every topic different?
Why do you not talk like that normally?
I don't know.
Hill, you heard that shit, right? That is some epic cowboy shit.
Howdy.
So is every topic a different voice now, or is it just? Am I just doing cowboy?
I mean,
And you doing a different voice for every topic?
yeah, I was gonna say I didn't know you had 4 voices. I thought you just had 2.
I mean, I don't know if you want to hear like a fucking creature starting to read topic 2, but
Nah, that might be a little bit too intelligible. You know, stick with cowboy. Get some practice in.
all right.
There is a way to tell when it hits oversaturation. Topic 2. There is a way to tell when it hits oversaturation. When a certain type of game sees widespread success, the AAA companies latch onto it like lamprey. They try to incorporate it into as many of their games as possible. Battle Royale modes, for example, have been put into the big FPS franchises as for a way to combat the issue. I'm not sure there is one aside from ignoring the trends, which I see as a bad idea. If the game is popular, it would be foolish to not make one yourself and to put your own spin on it. Kind of like how Nintendo took open world survival and put it into quite effectively Breath of the Wild. Eventually, the oversaturation reaches a breaking point, and people move on to the next entertaining game. Oversaturation ends itself without the need of intervention.
I am really digging that voice.
Okay.
Topic 3. They shouldn't restrict themselves to just movies. God damn it. They shouldn't restrict themselves to just what the movies provide. There's so much more in comics that they can use. Movie licensed games have a long history of being awful. Most gamers, myself included, avoid them like the topic 4 is buried somewhere. I found it. Topic 4. Someone has it.
Continue.
Okay. Topic 4. Find out the person's personal interests, like likes and dislikes, and go from there. Are they interested in World War II? Consider games that cover that subject. Company of Heroes, Hearts of Iron, Medal of Honor, and the like. Are they fond of fantasy worlds with more of a character focus? There are many role-playing games that fit that description. Match the games to the interest of the person. Everyone's going to have a different interest. So introduce video games to someone that has a different for each individual. Has to be different for each individual. The starter games depend on the individual rather than being any one game fits all sort of thing.
You can't hear it, but I'm slow clapping right now. I am totally slow clapping.
Thank you.
I bow. I'm bowing, I guess.
Oh my god, that was straight up fucking old school country. Hill, did I mention he's from Jersey?
You failed to mention that.
Shit, never would have guessed. Fucking all right. Well, in whatever voice you so choose, Corey, go ahead and give me your actual opinion on the matters.
Okay. Just a second. I have to find it all.
That vocal range always trips me out when you just talk normally, by the way.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it just happened.
Dude, he's like the same height as you too. He doesn't look like he should have that vocal range.
I look like I should have a very deep vocal range if from my...
You also look like you came out of Crispin Freeman's ball sack.
Damn.
For those of you who don't know, because this is podcast, Corey has a distinct privilege of looking like a younger version of a man who stopped aging 20 years ago by the name of Crispin Freeman. Crispin Freeman's some of his more notable roles are, and I'm not doing them all because this man's been doing shit damn near 30 years, Alucard from Hellsing, if you've ever seen that show, as well as being in, I believe, damn near 100 different RPGs, all of course which came from Japan, over the course of the past, I don't know, 15, 20 years. He's a very talented man.
He's also Winston in Overwatch.
He's also Winston and McCree in Overwatch.
That's Matthew Mercer.
Oh, sorry. He's also the ape from Overwatch.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, I mean, if I got it wrong, let me know. So, yeah, take your time. Read him in whatever voice you so choose.
I'm just gonna read them as me. I feel like I'm gonna stress out my vocal cords. The Netflix Disney thing, I think we'll see the characters at some point again. I mean, I maybe on the Disney streaming service because that's where all their big things are going. Maybe in a TV series, it's possible they'll end up in the movies at some point if they so choose to do that. I just don't think it'll be the same actors again. I think they'll probably like switch them out. I think I feel like everyone's going to say battle royales. I feel like everyone has said battle royales for topic 2. I think it's usually just a fad kind of thing. It usually lasts a little bit. Like every game hits its peak at some point, and then it just kind of like dies off and the next big thing comes out. I remember League of Legends being really popular. MOBAs were like really popular like back in like 2014 to 2015, I want to say. And then like things like Overwatch, Dota 2, League of Legends and all that. So I think like eventually Fortnite will probably just die off. Like Apex Legends I think will come up a little bit and start stealing some of them because it's something different. I think it'll just die off at some point. For topic 3, I personally prefer games like Spider-Man for the PS4 where they take the liberties and they do what they want with the characters. And like still keep that like heart and soul of the comics still in the game. There was like one good movie licensed game, and that was Spider-Man 2. But there's not really the movie licensed games aren't good. There's like Thor, Green Lantern. There's so many bad ones. I think they should just do things like Spider-Man for the PS4. And for topic 4, I think really simplistic games is a really good way to start getting somebody to start playing video games. I think like games like Mario, or I guess like any of the Super Mario games is pretty good, or maybe like starting Tetris, because Tetris, slowly builds up over time and starts getting more difficult. I think that's a really good starting game, but I agree with Officer. I think that you should maybe get someone's interest like World War II. I think that's a really good point to make. If someone really likes World War II, maybe they want to play a first-person shooter. I know like some people, like my friend's neighbor growing up, played a lot of first-person shooters because he liked war stories and all that, so that got him into video games a little bit.
America. I swear to God, I think I'm not even going to be surprised in like 10, 15 years if literally most of North America says America.
I'll be sad. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, I didn't say it was a good thing. I'm just saying that I can see it happening.
Yeah. I believe you're next, Zax.
Okay, I wasn't sure if he was done or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little prick. Hold on. Sorry, I was experiencing technical throat difficulties. Prosciutto is a motherfucker. All right, as far as topic 1, I think the Netflix main cast members from the Defenders plus guy who plays Punisher. I think that Disney's going to try to haggle a deal with them to make cameos or appearances. We might even see them in the upcoming Avengers as reshoots. Or what's going to happen is in the next movie or every movie that happens after Avengers or post Avengers, these characters may show up in, post credit scenes. Not even, building up to something, just letting you know, oh shit, they exist now. Because I don't think Disney knows if they're going to do movies with these characters or not. Not to mention, let's not forget, the entire universe doesn't have to be ending in order for the Avengers to have a movie. Technically, the second movie, they really never left their country of origin of Sokovia when the fight broke out. So instead of getting the band back together, they could probably introduce them in the next Avengers as there's a unique threat that only these guys we've been meeting can deal with. And let's not forget also that Falcon, because everyone forgets it. Falcon has an underground journalist contact who specifically studies and looks up superhuman type people. That's how he was able to find Ant-Man in the first place. Yes, Ant-Man beat his ass, but he didn't know who Ant-Man was. Now, with that being said, the other thing I can think of is they are going to continue to show us, but it's going to be on Disney's bullshit ass streaming service. I don't hate Disney streaming service. I just don't want to spend money on a fucking umpteenth billionth subscription service. The shit's getting on my nerves. At least Netflix had the decency for their really popular shit to release it physically. You can actually buy all the Netflix shows on Blu-ray. Which reminds me, I need to look into Iron Fist because Iron Fist kind of sucked. I don't know if it came out on Blu-ray. Season 2 was the shit, even though it pretty much wasn't about him. He still only has one glowing fist, but I'm not going to get into that because I keep getting pissed. Now, as far as topic 2, I, in fact, do believe genre oversaturation is a problem, and I think it's an annoying problem, and I think it actually does more harm than good. However, is there a proper way to monitor it and fix it? I'm going to categorize that under fuck if I know, which means I don't know if the correct answer or possibility when it comes to number 2, but there's a reason for that. Okay, peep this. Now, I know you guys haven't noticed it, but unlike any other form of media, when it comes to video games, genre oversaturation usually is either, if not glorified, it is considered negligible. In the movie world, oversaturation leads to no ticket sales, meaning they learned their lesson. Now, I know y'all might not remember this, or maybe if y'all studied some film history, but back in the day, there used to be a special type of premium movie called a road show. Anybody ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, kind of makes sense. Corey, you're lucky. You two are like the same age, so the fact that you know it is impressive. I'm not even going to lie. A road show is a special type of theatrical version of a movie where the actors will come out and perform things with the movie, during the movie, or after the movie, as well as receiving premium gifts and effects. The trade-off is the ticket price is usually 3 to 4 times the normal amount. So let's say at the time a ticket is $4, you will be paying close to $20 for one ticket. And they were only done in like auditorium style places, shit like that 9 times out of 10. Now they stopped them around, I want to say 86. And even then by 86, there was only 3 that year that happened. Again, this is loose history. Don't take it as a full on. For all I know, there could be other countries where road shows, are a constant thing. Don't let the name fool you. A touring show, that's been around forever. But specifically, movie touring shows were not. And also because actors' schedules are so tight now that they couldn't possibly go around for every single showing of a show in certain areas like they're on a music tour for musicians and shit. So basically, it died off because lack of interest and costing too much. Now, when you move into the video game format, we all know that there have been entire years where everything came out, almost everything that came out on a video game console was a sequel. And we know that even though it's really not, a lot of people consider World War II to be literally its own video game genre, which couldn't be further from the truth. First off, that's an aesthetic. That's a style choice. That's not a gameplay format. Hey, Hill, have you ever WW2'd? How do you WW2? Do you do it while you're eating?
I don't know.
So I think the biggest issue is that, or rather why we've been able to not notice it so much, or it's been considered negligible, is because even if we have maybe a whole year where only 100 games come out, which I wish we could go back to that, no one will feel or notice oversaturation if the games come out at least 4 to 5 months away from each other. But also remember that everybody's trying to suck the dick off of their corporate overlords and shareholders, save for a few exceptions like Nintendo. So think about this. Your shareholder says, oh, hey, this type of game is popular. How do you make it make the most amount of money? Well, you fill it with gambling microtransactions and you put it in the battle royale or any form of a MMO type situation, but make sure it's FPS specifically. Okay, do that. Get all the money. Well, we can't get all the money. You're fired. Hey, next guy. Yes. Get all the money. And don't tell me you can't. Okay. Now, they're still not going to get all the money. But you see where I'm going. The oversaturation is almost completely determined by external forces who don't even fucking make video games. But at the same time, since these games can dry up and pop off into non-existence so quickly, it almost doesn't matter. So to be fair, I don't know. I know it's an issue because even if you don't play or have to touch the games, remember, somebody made everything you fucked with and everything you see or didn't see in that game. How would you feel if you worked on a game so hard that you only had to take 1 day off a week and you always did overtime because, well, you couldn't find any other work fast enough? And, you know, you have a bunch of life issues, and including your medical health is basically deteriorating because of stress from meeting bullshit deadlines for certain seasonal events like Christmas or the summer. And then everyone says, man, there's too many games like this. So the game doesn't even exist for 8 months, even though you were working on it 4 years. I think it hurts people on both the financial and the psychological level. But of course, different people. I don't really give a shit about a shareholder. I've always said investors are better than shareholders. Shareholder is not the same as an investor. And people need to stop thinking that. Investor is a general term, but someone who actually is just an investor, that's more malleable. You could just be an investor in that title by that company, not a shareholder in the entire company in general overall. You know, basically, I prefer specialities that focus instead of widespread nets in this type of situation. I think what has to happen is somebody needs to get in front of shareholders and possibly, and I stress the term possibly, sit down and explain to them, hey, look, these are all the games of the same shit coming out with the same exact type of themes and crap. We need to calm our shit down. Possibly usher in a new format. You know, don't put your finger on the pulse. Be the pulse creator. Damn, that's a good one. I should write that down. I really should. So, I don't know how to fix it, but I acknowledge it's an issue. Moving on. My heart, my blood, my soul, my brain, my eyes can never be more happy to see the X-Men cometh home. I have literally wanted this since, I want to say, Iron Man 2? No, actually, whose movies came out after Iron Man?
Thor?
Fuck no, it wasn't Thor. Yeah. Ever since, you know, Iron Man and the Hulk had that nice little transition and shit, I think that was what, maybe 2009 ish. I've wanted, or maybe 2010. I've wanted the X-Men to pop the fuck up. Everyone knew it was a foregone conclusion until executives and lawyers got butthurt about Easter egg references. Yes, that happened. We've talked about it before. Also, it's all over the internet. You know, if you don't know what it is by now, just look it the fuck up. Marvel and Fox's lawyers got into some shit. But long story short, I look at it as quite literally destiny, which ironically something I don't believe in. I don't think the games need to have a limit. Because first off, everyone knows not as far as financial budget. When it comes to creativity, the less limits you have in a video game, the more dynamic the game you can create. Throwing everything all in a video game has the same effect as throwing everything all in a movie. It's not going to come out well. You never put every genre type in one movie, it's going to be garbage. So I feel the same way for video games. But if you can make every single type of genre and make them different games, why not? I don't really think X-Men translate well to first-person shooters. But if you had a game where you're just playing select X-Men, like Storm back when she had Captain Marvel's powers, Cyclops, Storm when she had Rogue when she had Captain Marvel's powers, and Cyclops, you could do a first-person shooter type X-Men game because those characters lend well to first-person shooters. But realistically, you all know what I really want. I want an X-Men game that's basically Devil May Cry, offline co-op, RPG, but I can play different fucking X-Men, put them in a squad, or go get my homies and we can be in a squad in real time. I swear to God, if I wake up in a world like that, I'm gonna fucking cry. But that aside, I think that literally all they have to do is never have a restriction so everyone can win. You can have an X-Men game come out the same year that an X-Men movie game comes out. Some marketing assholes or dumbasses who don't know dick all can say, oh no, you can't have two products of the same franchise released at the same time. Shut the fuck up. If TV shows, Netflix shows can come from video games and not hurt video games and vice versa, you can have a movie game that doesn't hurt a game made by fans who loved and endeared the fucking the franchise. Everybody was up. The creators of Activision, I think, did it. Everybody was up. Whoever made the new Spider-Man games ass to get the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit so bad that they actually had to tell people, we heard you, shut the fuck up on social media. Of course, they said it in a polite way, which was optional as far as I'm concerned. So why sit up here and put the movie game curse on something when you don't even have to have a predetermined limit? I bet both of you right now can think of at least 4 or 5 X-Men you'd love to play in a video game. At least. And don't say Wolverine, okay? We already know. So I think, with that being said, it should all coexist. No restrictions. We should have a movie tie-in game for the little kids because that shit's garbage. We should have an actual well thought out game, and we should have games that heavily borrow from the comic book story. If the movies heavily borrow from the comic book story, why the fuck can't the games? In fact, it would be easier for the games to do it. And cartoon series. Bring back X-Men cartoons, please. And now the conclusion, topic 4. Topic 4, I hate to say it, but with some few exceptions, I think that the best thing and format and way to possibly convert a gamer into being a gamer is, first off, ask them what type of books and what type of movies do they like to read and like to watch. And then you can just play yourself the Nintendo category or everyone else category. Now, if they have some basic understanding or they say, okay, well, these type of games look cool, you let them play that type of game that looks cool, but you put it in easy mode. For example, my god kids, I was happy enough and I was around at the time to be able to introduce both of them into video games. I started my goddaughter off, even though she was older, with Kirby, because Kirby is somewhat universal and he was cheap to find. Now, Kirby has a distinguished honor of having the Kingdom Hearts effect of being too fucking easy. But it's a great starter game because it covers the general basics. Learning the buttons, learning combinations with the buttons, or rather types of combinations you can have with the buttons, but also learning how to be defensive when you're dealing with enemies that you can't attack all the time. Because as is tradition, and I've always found weird, even to this day in a lot of Nintendo games, simply touching an enemy damn near can make you die. So you learn to defend against them or avoid them. Now, if it's more of a book type, I would recommend shit like the story-driven games like the Walking Dead Tales or the Tales of Batman stuff. That's it. First-person shooters are semi-universal. Also, a lot of newcomers to gaming usually don't start with those or have a dedicated interest in them. So the way I look at it, if you start somebody off with a Kirby game, a more recent title, of course, and you also show them stuff like, story type games, they'll be able to develop what they want. If they say they want more of a combat aspect, you send them a fighting game. They say no, they don't understand fighting games and they just button mash. Then you tell them, hey, try out this Devil May Cry, try out these action adventure stuff. Or if you tell them they want a big ass world to explore and they don't necessarily have to fuck with the story, we all know what to say. Breath of the Wild, Horizon Zero, Breath of the Wild. Either way it goes, at least 5 out of 10 notches you can put somebody on are going to come from Nintendo boxes. And they're going to be cheap and easy to find. Well, I mean, if they're old at least. Not to mention, if memory serves, Nintendo has a game in almost every price bracket I can think of. From about $5 to 50 or 60. Jesus, games are $60 now. Oh my God, I remember when they were fucking 20. Oh, that still feels so shitty. Anyways. So, the way I'm looking at it, literally ask them what they like when they're not playing video games for entertainment, and in summary, whittle it down to that point where you're getting something similar. Oh, you like action movies? You like the Avengers? The Avengers, shit like that? Hey, let me introduce you to Devil May Cry, for example. Okay. With that being said, you guys got any closing statements?
Like, follow, subscribe. Yeah, and hit the bell notification to get notified on the future podcast. Defeat T-Series.
Well, you heard it, gentlemen. With that being said, this has been another exciting episode of Token Games Podcast. I will see you guys when I see you guys.